Have you ever felt like you're doing all the right things, trying to eat healthy, manage stress, but you still feel kind of caught in that cycle of being tired or maybe wired or just hitting those awful energy crashes? Feels like your body's just uh, not quite getting the message right.
Well, sometimes the real key isn't just what we're eating, but actually when and how we approach our food and our whole day. And that's exactly what we're diving deep into today. Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission here is to cut through all that noise, the confusion around diet and hormones. We want to give you really practical, actionable things you can do to help stabilize your cortisol levels, boost your energy, and just find more hormonal balance day to day. And honestly, the best part, you don't need some super complicated diet to make it happen. We're talking small strategic shifts that can make a genuinely huge difference. So yeah, this is your guide to how to eat for hormone harmony without a complicated diet. Okay, let's unpack this. And I think the best place to start is the morning, right?
We all kind of know breakfast is important, but for hormone harmony, it's not just about grabbing anything. It's more about setting the stage for the entire day ahead. So when we looked into the morning routine, one of the really foundational things was the power of protein. Right at breakfast, it's not just about having something.
Oh, it's absolutely crucial. Yeah, a really common mistake is having, say, a carb-heavy breakfast or maybe something too light, and then you just crash later. The research really points towards aiming for a good, solid 15 to 20 grams of protein in that first meal.
15 to 20, okay.
Yeah, that amount really anchors your breakfast. And crucially, it helps prevent those really rapid blood sugar spikes because those spikes are often what trigger a compensatory cortisol release later on.
Ah, right. The body trying to catch up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about it. Blood sugar skyrockets, then plummets. Your body sees that as stress, and boom, cortisol jumps in. So simple things like, a couple of eggs, a good serving of Greek yogurt, or even a well-made protein smoothie, they set a much more stable foundation.
That makes so much sense, stabilizing blood sugar right away. But
Yeah.
okay, beyond what we eat, how critical is when we eat it? In the morning, I mean.
The timing is, well, incredibly significant. We generally recommend eating breakfast within about 60 minutes of waking up.
Within an hour.
Within the hour, yeah. If you connect this to the bigger picture, like your body's natural rhythms, eating then supports your natural cortisol awakening response. That natural surge of cortisol that helps you wake up and feel alert. Giving your body energy right then helps establish a healthy daily rhythm. It's like telling your body, okay, fuel's here, time to engage, instead of it feeling like it needs to scramble. It helps set your internal clock properly.
Okay, so protein base, timed right within the hour. What else should we be thinking about adding to that morning plate to really, optimize that hormonal balance? Are there other key things?
Absolutely. This is where we talk about the triple threat, basically. The goal is to combine that protein with good sources of fiber and healthy fats.
Protein, fiber, and fat. Got it.
Yeah, this trio is just essential for metabolic stability. They work together synergistically to slow down how quickly glucose is absorbed. And that actively prevents those rapid blood sugar swings that, as we said, are a major trigger for cortisol.
So what does that look like practically?
Well, for fiber, think berries, maybe some oats. You could even sneak spinach into scrambled eggs. For healthy fats, maybe some avocado slices, a handful of nuts, or a drizzle of olive oil. That combination really keeps you feeling satisfied and keeps your blood sugar much more level through the morning.
Okay, so we've covered the food itself pretty well, but are there other, maybe less obvious allies we can bring into that morning routine? Things to really supercharge this hormone balancing effort?
Yes, definitely. And this is where adaptogenic allies can come into play. Adaptogens are these really unique herbs that help your body adapt to stress. They can be a powerful addition.
Adaptogens, like ashwagandha.
Exactly, like ashwagandha or rhodiola, for instance. They specifically help to normalize cortisol levels, which means they can help bring cortisol down if it's too high or, support it if it's too low. They basically help your body find its natural balance point.
Huh, interesting. How would you use them?
Oh, they're pretty easy to incorporate. You can add them to a morning smoothie, brew them into a tea, or just take them as a supplement with your breakfast. Think of them as like a little extra support system for your adrenal glands, helping them handle daily stressors more effectively.
That's fascinating. Like a stress response coach inside your body. Okay, so we've pretty much nailed the morning routine, set a great foundation. But what about the rest of the day? Because our daily meal timing, the structure, that's got to be just as crucial for keeping those rhythms consistent, right? How should we think about spreading out our food?
Yeah, a really key principle here is to try and front load your calories.
Front load, meaning eat more earlier.
Exactly. Consume a larger portion of your total daily calories earlier in the day. What's interesting is how your body processes food. Your digestive system is actually more efficient when cortisol is naturally higher, which is in the morning and early afternoon. So by working with that natural rhythm, you optimize digestion and get energy when you most need it. On the flip side, really large, heavy evening meals can actively disrupt that natural decline in cortisol that needs to happen for good restorative sleep.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense about digestive rhythms. But realistically, for a lot of us, dinner is the main family meal, often later. How can we front load without totally ditching evening traditions?
That's a really practical question. And it's often about strategic adjustments, not total elimination. You don't have to skip dinner, but maybe aim for a slightly larger breakfast and lunch, make sure they're protein rich, and then have a more moderate dinner. You could also just try shifting dinner slightly earlier if your schedule allows, or choose lighter, easier to digest foods in the evening. It's about making conscious choices that align better with your body's energy patterns. And speaking of choices, consistency in when you eat is also incredibly important. Try as much as possible to maintain consistent meal timing, eating at roughly the same times each day.
So creating predictability for our bodies.
Precisely. That consistency is vital because it reinforces your body's natural cortisol rhythm, which is deeply tied to your circadian clock. When you eat predictably, you give reliable cues to your HPA axis. That's your body's main stress response system. It helps your body anticipate and regulate things better, leading to more stability. Erratic eating patterns, on the other hand, can really throw that rhythm off, leading to unnecessary stress responses because your body is constantly guessing when fuel is coming.
Right. Okay, what about snacks? We all hit that mid-afternoon slump sometimes or just find ourselves starving between meals. What's the strategic way to snack for hormones, not against them?
Snacking isn't inherently bad at all. It really depends on how and what you snack on. The key is planning. Plan for protein-anchored snacks.
Protein again?
Yep. Aim for maybe 10 to 15 grams of protein and combine it with some fiber and healthy fat between your main meals. This approach is basically your defense against those blood sugar crashes that are a huge trigger for unnecessary cortisol release.
Mhm.
A handful of almonds with an apple, maybe some Greek yogurt with berries. That can make a huge difference in keeping things stable and preventing that frantic hunger signal.
And I guess on the flip side of that, completely skipping meals, even if you're swamped,
Yeah.
that's a big no-no for hormone balance.
Oh, absolutely. A huge no-no. Missing meals, even when you're incredibly busy, forces your body into releasing compensatory cortisol just to maintain your blood sugar.
Hmm.
Your body basically interprets that as a starvation situation, which is a significant stressor. So even if it's just something quick and balanced, make sure you have something available. Prepping quick options ahead of time, like pre-cut veggies and hummus, or keeping hard-boiled eggs handy, that can be a real lifesaver.
Okay, so we've covered the when and how of structuring meals. Now let's dig into the what. What specific ingredients should we focus on to really support cortisol balance? Food choices are powerful tools here, and I think a really crucial first step is looking hard at those high glycemic foods.
This is absolutely fundamental. Foods that spike your blood sugar really quickly, think sugary cereals, pastries, white bread, that kind of thing, they create this rapid surge in glucose. Your body then overcompensates to bring it back down, and that whole process often leads to these rebound cortisol surges. It's a roller coaster you don't want to be on. The solution is, thankfully, pretty simple. Replace them with whole, unprocessed alternatives that release their energy much more slowly and steadily. That metabolic steadiness is exactly what we need for hormone harmony.
So, yeah, goodbye morning pastry. But what about those times when you really crave something sweet or starchy? Are there better bad options, or is it just strict avoidance?
It's definitely more about making smarter choices than total deprivation, usually. Instead of white bread, choose a good whole grain bread. If you're craving something sweet, maybe reach for fruit paired with some nut butter. The fiber and fat slow down the sugar absorption rather than, say, a candy bar. The goal is really to try and always pair any carbohydrate with protein, fiber, or healthy fat. Just buffer that blood sugar response.
Okay, buffering. I like that.
And speaking of key nutrients, one that often gets overlooked is magnesium. Embracing magnesium is a really vital step.
Magnesium. I usually think of that for muscles. What's the cortisol connection?
Yeah, it's known for muscles, but what's fascinating is how it works with stress. Magnesium actually helps activate GABA receptors in your brain. Yeah, GABA receptors are basically the calm down switches for your nervous system. So magnesium acts almost like a natural tranquilizer for your body, directly helping to mitigate stress and balance cortisol. So definitely make an effort to get magnesium-rich foods in daily. Think dark leafy greens, nuts, seeds, legumes. They're all packed with it.
Good to know. And let's not forget vitamin C. That was another key takeaway, powering up with vitamin C.
Yes, vitamin C is critical. It directly supports healthy adrenal function. Your adrenals are the glands making cortisol, and it also plays a role in helping clear cortisol from your system faster. When you're under stress, your body actually uses up more vitamin C, so keeping those levels topped up is key. Brightly colored foods are your friend here.
Like citrus.
Exactly. Citrus fruits, bell peppers, berries, leafy greens, all excellent sources to add into your meals regularly.
Okay, and one more for food choices. Omega-3s for balance. Tell us about that.
Right, omega-3 fatty acids. They're famous for being anti-inflammatory, but they also significantly improve how well your cell membranes function. And that has this ripple effect across your whole body, including how your cells respond to hormones like cortisol. Getting enough omega-3s regularly can help calm systemic inflammation, which is often linked with chronic stress and higher cortisol.
So where do we find those?
Fatty fish are great sources, think salmon, sardines, and there are good plant-based options too, like flax seeds, chia seeds, and walnuts. Just incorporating those regularly helps.
Okay, fantastic food focus points. Now, we often focus so much on food, but what we drink can have a huge impact too, sometimes one we overlook, right? Strategic beverage management is just as important. Let's start with the big one, caffeine.
Oh, absolutely. Caffeine has a surprisingly long half-life, usually around 5 to 6 hours for most people. And what it does is it actively blocks adenosine receptors in your brain. Those are the signals that tell your brain it's time to relax.
So it keeps you wired.
Pretty much. Now, a cup in the morning can actually align okay with your natural cortisol rise, helping you feel alert. But drinking it in the afternoon can severely disrupt your evening cortisol decline. It interferes with sleep preparation. So the strong recommendation is generally to cut off caffeine by 12 noon, maybe 1 p.m. at the latest for some people.
Okay, noon cutoff. So what do we do then when that, 3 p.m. slump inevitably hits?
That's where herbal alternatives can really shine. Switching to things like holy basil tea or ashwagandha tea, those adaptogens again, or really any non-caffeinated infusion after lunchtime can actively support a healthy cortisol rhythm. It lets your body naturally transition towards evening relaxation without that artificial caffeine buzz interfering. It's a much gentler way to navigate the afternoon.
That makes sense. Now, this inevitably brings up an important question for a lot of us. Alcohol. How does alcohol fit into this hormone harmony picture?
Yeah, alcohol definitely needs careful timing if cortisol is a concern. If you choose to drink, it's generally best to do it earlier in evening, maybe with dinner, rather than having it as a nightcap right before bed.
Why is that?
Well, the reason is that alcohol often creates a delayed cortisol surge, typically about 4 to 6 hours after you drink it. So if you drink right before bed, that cortisol spike is likely to hit you right in the middle of the night, disrupting that crucial deep sleep and raising cortisol when it should be at its lowest point.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that delayed.
Yeah, giving your body time to process it well before sleep is really crucial to avoid that disruption.
Okay. And finally, a really basic one, but maybe easy to forget. Hydration. That's got to be foundational.
It truly is. It sounds simple, but dehydration is a physical stressor, and any stressor can potentially elevate cortisol. Your body is constantly working to maintain balance, homeostasis, and if it's struggling because it's dehydrated, it can respond with a stress signal. So aiming for consistent water intake all day long, especially in the morning and early afternoon, just keeps your system running smoothly and helps prevent that unnecessary cortisol bump. Simple habit, profound benefits.
Definitely. Okay, so as the day winds down, how can our eating habits specifically help us get ready for a good night's sleep and support that hormone balance further?
Tested.
Let's talk evening nutrition strategy, starting with dinner portions.
Right. Large evening meals are a really common culprit for disrupting sleep. When you eat a big, heavy meal late at night, your body is forced to work hard on digestion. That elevates your metabolism and can directly interfere with that crucial nighttime drop in cortisol. It gets in the way of your body's natural wind-down process and hurts sleep quality. So aiming for more moderate portions, enough to feel satisfied but not stuffed, allows your body to shift its focus towards repair and rest, not heavy digestion.
And beyond just the size, can what we eat for dinner actually help us sleep better? Are there specific nutrients we should look for in that evening meal?
Yes, absolutely. Including tryptophan-rich foods in your evening meal can be really beneficial for, well, tranquility.
Tryptophan, like in turkey.
Exactly, the classic example. Tryptophan is an amino acid, and it's a precursor, a building block for serotonin, and then ultimately for melatonin. And melatonin is your body's main sleep hormone. So including these foods can directly support melatonin production, helping to counterbalance cortisol and ease you into more restful sleep. So yeah, think lean proteins like turkey or chicken, eggs, dairy, even a handful of nuts can contribute as part of your dinner.
Okay, interesting. And just like with breakfast, I imagine timing matters for dinner too. How long before bed should we ideally aim to finish eating?
Yes, that timing is really crucial for both sleep quality and hormone balance. The general recommendation is to try and finish eating about 2 to 3 hours before you actually go to bed.
2 to 3 hours, okay.
Yeah, that window allows the main initial stages of digestion to happen before you lie down. If your digestive system is still working really hard when you go to sleep, it can cause discomfort, disrupt sleep cycles, and prevent that natural evening cortisol dip. Giving your body that buffer helps ensure it's ready to shift into rest and repair mode.
Right, not still processing dinner. And finally, just to really help wind down and signal to our bodies that it's time for rest. Any suggestions for calming evening beverages?
Oh, for sure. Calming teas can be a really wonderful part of an evening ritual. Things like chamomile, valerian root, or passion flower tea have natural soothing properties. Sipping on one of those can further support relaxation and gently encourage that natural evening decrease in cortisol levels. It helps your body prepare for deep, restorative sleep. It's a nice, intentional practice to signal it's time to slow down.
That sounds lovely. So, okay, let's bring this all together. What does this mean for you listening right now? We've covered a lot of ground simple, but really quite profound shifts. Changes in your morning routine, how you structure your day, specific foods to focus on, managing beverages smartly, and how to wind down in the evening. And all of these strategies are aimed squarely at stabilizing your cortisol and bringing more harmony to your hormones. And remember, the key idea is doing this without needing some crazy complicated diet. It's about these small intentional choices that really add up.
Exactly. And it's so important to understand, I think, that these aren't just like rigid diet rules you have to follow perfectly. It's much more about creating a rhythm for your body, a rhythm that actually echoes its own natural biological clock. So maybe just consider how even one or two of these small, consistent adjustments, if you adopt them thoughtfully, might not just improve your hormones, they could potentially transform your daily energy, your mood, how resilient you feel to stress, creating this kind of positive ripple effect across your entire life. It's quite powerful when you think about it that way.